Okay, good morning, folks. We are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and this is entry 20 in the ongoing series of videos for, well, not ongoing, it's a fixed-term series of videos participating in the RPG A Day event for 2017. If this is the first video you've seen in this series, this is a series of videos where we are answering, or blog posts for other folks. We're answering a different question relating to role-playing games every day of August 2017. The question for today is, what is the best source for out-of-print RPGs? Sorry, I was looking at tomorrow's question. I think they're really kind of running out of steam at the end of some of these. The question is where do you find out-of-print games? This is gonna be a fairly short video because there's really there's only two kind of answers you can get. There's digital stuff and there's physical copies are the two different sources. So for me, setting aside any kind of illegal sources, which when I was in college, I took, technically, actually I'm in Canada, so it wasn't necessarily illegal, but it was copyright infringement likely. Having just legal sources, then the sources that I use for digital resources are the sort of the trio of related organizations or companies, RPG, DriveThruRPG, RPG Now, and the Dungeon Masters Guild. Those three sites seem to be quite closely related, if not, the same thing. They're a terrific resource for getting a hold of old out-of-print games. It seems like a lot of game companies realize that there's a steady stream of income that can be made from back catalog by just releasing them that way. That's everything from small print, smaller games to, the biggest companies in gaming. Wizards of the Coast has a huge selection of stuff on there. I was actually able to recently snag some the D&D Encounters adventures that I never played in the D&D Encounters. I don't ever play in those. I don't ever go to the store to play during the week because it's just there's no way I can fit that in my schedule. But I do like the I like seeing what sort of done in one session things they've had. So I was able to grab a bunch of those for 4th edition D&D for very, very cheap. Similarly too, there's old, I think modules dating back to 1st edition AD&D you can still find online. And if you're into other games like the Mage or the White Wolf games from the 90s, there's also obviously the 20th anniversary editions of 3 of the games so far. There are 2 more forthcoming. There's 20th anniversary editions of Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, and Mage the Ascension. But you can actually find a bunch of the older products on print on demand there as well. I guess that's the print version, but that's the PDF copies for sure. And then often you can find print on demand versions as well. I don't really have any other resources I go to for PDFs or for electronic copies, because DriveThruRPG or RPGNet or the Dungeon Masters Guild, they have everything. I mean, they have everything that is available is pretty much available there. The one exception to that, I think, is Paizo products are not available there, but those are all in print, so it doesn't really count. So for out-of-print electronic copies, that's my go-to place. For print copies, I am fortunate to live in Calgary, Alberta, where we have a store called the Sentry Box, and the Sentry Box advertises itself as the largest gaming store in North America. In terms of floor space, it certainly has more than any place I've ever been, and I make a habit of, whenever I'm in a town for business or for vacation, I go and check out the local gaming shop because I can sometimes find stuff to fill holes in collections or stuff like that. So it's the biggest gaming store I've ever seen. And they're really great at keeping obscure stuff in print. So for instance, I wanted to go and snag a copy of the Fiend Folio, the old 1st edition AD&D book recently, and I was able to find a copy on the shelf there. I had a time where, way back, this is before third edition D&D came out, there was a game that was released called Gemini. That was this weird dark fantasy game, and I honestly, it was a Swedish company that published it, and I can't remember the name of the company, but I purchased it and then I sold it in the course of one of my moves. And then I really got a hankering to grab the game again, and sure enough, SentryBox had it on the shelf. Yeah, so it's a really great resource. They used to have a really terrific online catalog as well too. So even when I didn't live here, I used to order stuff from them because you could review it online and snag what you needed. Since the Windows 10 patch came in, they've had some difficulties with updating the catalog, so it's not available online anymore. And I don't know when. This is at the time of recording in August, or on August 20th, 2017. So by the time you see this, and things may have been fixed, but they weren't. So they that's a shame that that's down for now, because it was a really easy way to see what obscure crap they had. Another resource for print games that I use is Noble Knight Games. I honestly don't know where they're located in the States, but I don't know where. But they have a really good habit of keeping, or a really good catalog of out of print games. Sometimes they're going to be marked up a bit, but I mean, it's nothing unreasonable. I used a Noble Knight to fill in holes in my Star Wars Saga Edition role-playing game, because I had most books for it, and I was missing a couple harder to find ones that were really quite popular ones, like the Knights of the Old Republic book was really tough to get. I couldn't find it anywhere in Canada, and Noble Knight had a copy, and I paid. I mean, I think I paid $100 for it or something like that. But it's, that's what it cost. So I didn't really care too much about that. Noble Knight is also generally the first place I'll go if I can't find something at SentryBox. Because I like them, and they had great customer service. They respond to emails quite quickly, so I like them. And then the final place I go for print is eBay. eBay can be, so I'm not much for selling stuff on eBay, just because the pain in the ass of having to pack shit up and sell it. And also, I guess I'm a hoarder, so I don't really sell my gaming stuff. But recently I got it, after reading a review of it, I got a hankering to pick up the Madness at Gardmore Abbey box set for D&D 4th edition. Hold on, I'll grab it. There we go. Voila. So I recently read a review of it, and I've been getting in the course of this past month, I've been getting back into 4th edition D&D again. And I read that this is one of the best products that came out for it. I saw it at the time, but at the time it was right at the end of the life cycle of the game, and I just wasn't particularly interested in picking it up. I don't know how many, whether the print run for this was smaller than it was for some of the other adventures, but I just had a real hard time trying to find a copy of this. And one of the reasons I think maybe that it became quite popular, even if you weren't playing the game, is that it included an actual deck of many things, which is a magic item from Dungeons and Dragons from way back in the day. But anyway, I found this on eBay for basically the same cost that it, the same retail price that it would have been otherwise. The game arrived in terrific condition within like a week, and was shipped from the States up to Canada. So that's great. And I mean, there's been a bunch of other games in past where, like, if I'm trying to fill a hole in something, or I'm trying to track down an out of print product. An example of that would have been for 2nd edition Shadowrun, the Tir Nan Og and the Tir Tairngire books. They were the 2 books on Elven nations. They were really tricky to find. I simply could not find copies at different stores online, so I just used eBay, and I was able to track down copies for pretty reasonable prices as well. So, and I think that's it. Like, back in the day, we used to go and rummage, you'd pick up old games from, like, the resale bin or the discount bin of comic stores, or or like the used bin at role-playing shops. But there's that I don't think that's really the case anymore. I think when often when small, especially for smaller gaming stores, when they have available space, they want to fill it with stuff that's actually going to be moving more quickly, not stuff that's just going to take up space waiting for it to be, to be picked up. Sentry Box is fortunate in that it does have a number of different. It's got like a lot of gaming stores. There's what do you call it? Card games, board games, Warhammer 40K stuff, other and novels, massive novels section as well too. As well as role-playing stuff. So they've got a diversity of a variety of products to support their business. They're even with them though, I should say their used section is actually quite good, quite big, but I think that's because they have the space. Noble Knight, I imagine, supports. I haven't been. If they have a physical store, I have not been to it, but I imagine it's the online sales is the thing that facilitates that. They don't necessarily need to have a really great display area to support the old stuff. Another cool thing with Noble Knight actually too is if you do purchase something from them, or if you just sign up for their mailing list, they'll send you an email once a week, a month, I don't know, a periodic email that will tell you what they've got in, like what new stuff they got in. And I've yet to find anything that was like, oh, I need that. But I read it every time it comes in. I read it to see what stuff is there. So if you're someone who is a fan of out of print games, and you're just idly kind of filling a collection. Like I did that with 3rd edition Shadowrun, and then with older editions of Shadowrun as well. That's a good way to sort of keep an eye on what what older products are available. So anyway, I'll include links to Noble Knight and to Sentry Box in the and I guess the Drive-Thru RPG in the description of the video. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for the question is, which RPG does the most with the least words? Oy, this is what I'm saying, that they're getting a little, they're getting a little stale by the end. This last stretch of questions may not be the most exciting of questions to engage with, but in any event, we'll see it through to the end. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow.